Welcome to The Writing Life. My name is Michael Collier, and today's program features poet Ethelbert Miller. Ethelbert Miller is also an arts administrator, editor. He's an investor in the bookstore Vertigo in Washington, D.C., and he will be reading from his poems as well as talking a bit about what it's like to do the many things he does. I thought we would start today with asking Ethelbert to read a poem. And you know, Ethelbert, the poem that I thought might be good for you to begin with is "Only Language Can Hold Us Together."
Okay. Only language can hold us together. I watched the women bead their hair, each bead a word, braids becoming sentences. She would never comb her hair. It was always wild, like new poetry. It was difficult to understand. She would enter rooms where old women would stare and mumble, and bold ones would say, "Where's her mother?" She never understood why no one ever understood the beauty of her hair. Like free verse, so natural as conversation, so flowing like the French or Spanish she heard or overheard she thought she knew. "I want to go to Mozambique," she said one day, combing her hair, finding the proper beads after so long. "I want to go to Mozambique," she said, twisting her hair into shape, the way her grandmother made quilts, each part separated and plaited. "I want to go to Mozambique or Zimbabwe or someplace like Luanda. I need to do something about my hair. If only I could remember the words to the language that keeps breaking in my hands."
Is there a poem about your father that you could read?
Well, there's a poem here which is about my brother, but it's actually about my father also, because one of the things I look at, and I just written an essay on this, is I'm amazed that my brother, went into the monastery in terms of the early 60s. And I interviewed my brother when he came out of the monastery. And he informed me that the major influence on his life to encourage him to go into the monastery was my father. And for many years, I thought like my brother went to the monastery because he was like many other young men around the 1960s who came in contact with the writings of Thomas Merton. And I thought that had opened the door. But talking to my brother, he felt and told me that the spiritual image and model was our father. And this is a poem, 1962, my brother Richard enters the monastery. And this is a major thing for my father to agree to let my brother go into the monastery. That's a major step in terms of permission. "What do I remember? Not much. The trip to LaGuardia Airport. Not too many colored people were flying in those days. One had to walk out to the airplane. I remember that. A number of us, family and friends, had gone to see him off. We laughed at Richard. We laughed at Richard's head in the plane's window. We were surprised we could see him and that he could see us. We kept waving until the plane turned around, slowly went down the runway, took to the air, and flew. My brother was gone. It would be years before I understood that he could have been gone forever. I think that evening my father went to work as usual. My mother fell across the bed in her room, crying. My sister told me to hush and be quiet. I was the youngest, the baby, the other. How was I to understand the Lord's calling?